The voice of the Barrio. It was February 1946, and the air in Buenos Aires was thick with more than just the summer heat. 10-year-old Tiago walked down the cobblestone streets of his neighborhood, feeling a hum of energy he had never felt before. On every brick wall and telegraph pole, bright posters featured the face of a man named Juan Perón. To some, he was just a politician, but to the people in Tiago Street, he was a promise of a different kind of life. Tiago's grandfather, Roque, was waiting on the front porch, fanning himself with a newspaper. Roque had worked in the flour mills for 40 years, and his hands were rough and lined like a map. "Do you see those posters, Tiago?" Roque asked, pointing with his chin. "For the first time in my life, I feel like someone is finally speaking directly to us, the workers, the ones they used to ignore." That afternoon, Tiago met his friend Sofia near the local market. Sofia's father worked at the meatpacking plant, and she was wearing a pair of shiny new shoes. "My father says if Perón wins, we will have better schools and more food on the table," Sofia said, spinning around to show off her footwear. "He calls us the descamisados, the shirtless ones, because we are the people who work with our hands." Roque took Tiago for a walk toward the center of the city. They passed a group of men painting giant letters on a fence. Perón Quijano. Roque explained that the election was only a few days away. "Before, the big landowners and the rich generals decided everything," Roque whispered. "But now, the factories and the docks are waking up. Every person's vote is a hammer blow for fairness." They stopped at a small cafe where a man named Mateo, a tall worker with a cap, was talking loudly to a group. Mateo had been at the Plaza de Mayo back in October, when thousands of people demanded Perón's release from prison. "I stood in the fountains to cool my feet," Mateo laughed, ruffling Tiago's hair. "We showed them that the people have a voice, and on Sunday, we will use that voice at the ballot box." February 24th arrived, Election Day. The sun was fierce, but the lines at the voting stations were even longer. Tiago stood with Roque in a queue that stretched all the way around the block. There were no shouts or fights, only a quiet, heavy sense of importance. People wore their best Sunday clothes, holding their identification booklets as if they were made of gold. While they waited, Tiago saw his mother, Elena, standing by the gate. In 1946, women in Argentina could not yet vote, but she was there to support the men. She handed a bottle of cold water to Roque and squeezed Tiago's hand. "This is for your future too," she told Tiago. "When things change for the workers, they change for the mothers and the children most of all." The sun went down, and the city fell into a nervous silence. Tiago and Roque sat in their small living room, huddled around a large wooden radio. The valves inside the radio glowed a soft orange, and a low static hum filled the air. They were waiting for the returns from the provinces. Every time the announcer mentioned a lead for the Labor Party, Roque's grip on the arm of his chair tightened. Suddenly, the announcer's voice rose in excitement. The numbers were clear. Juan Perón had won the presidency by a landslide. Outside, the silence of the night was shattered by the sound of car horns and cheering. Roque stood up, his eyes moist. He hugged Tiago tightly. "The world is moving, Tiago," he said over the noise of the celebration. "It's moving toward us." Tiago went to the window and looked out at the street. People were dancing under the street lamps, waving flags and singing. He didn't understand all the complexities of politics, but he understood the look on his grandfather's face. For the first time, the people of the Barrio felt like they weren't just living in Argentina, they were leading it. Tiago smiled, imagining the new schools and the bright future that was just beginning.